All right, welcome to the Apostates, everyone. I am Ren, and with me, as always, is Dallas.
Oh, it's going to get ugly tonight.
Let's start with something where we can. This will be our nice criticism. Let's start with DeSantis, and
Oh boy.
he
What?
recently just made. This is not the most important piece of fuckery that he's done, but
No, it's not.
his horrible fascism is well documented and well covered by a lot of people who are
Everybody.
informed, and we know how dangerous he is. So we're well aware that this isn't exactly important, but it's just petty, and I think gives an insight into who he is. He recently signed a bill that would exempt minor league players from minimum wage laws.
And when you think about when you find out what minor league baseball players make, it's criminal. Only people that I think that make less are members of the Sea Org. Honestly, when it comes to major league players, if you did read the earth-shaking story in Sports Illustrated, you got these dudes living like they make college students look like kings. You got beat-ass cars. We understand that they are minor league, but this is poverty wages.
This is hydrating ramen noodles in room temperature water over time wages.
This was bad. And being that Ron DeSantis played baseball himself, that's not just sad. It's a dick move. It's a dick move, which as a Republican, he will get away with it because while not every baseball player is Aubrey Huff, enough of them are Republican and will unthinkingly vote Republican.
And continue to. But, it's not surprising given that Ron DeSantis has resting umpire face. He does. You didn't think about it before, but think of his face. That's an umpire face.
And not even like the cute cartoon umpires either. Like you have a feeling he actually would not engage in witty repartee with Bugs Bunny. He would just take his lucky rabbit's foot however he could.
It goes to show just how petty this man is, that he basically did this for what amounted to a $1 million donation kickback. $1 million.
That's the part that gets me. Who he got it from? $1 million is couch money. Like, this is how I know. This is why I think Francis Suarez hates DeSantis so much. Because Francis Suarez would have gotten something else out of it. He'd have gotten himself a house, jet skis, had free cocaine rights to to all of Major League Baseball. He would have gotten something out of it other than $1 million.
Yeah, but that $1 million will go great long way to keeping his campaign headquarters fridge stocked with pudding.
Okay, the pudding thing, bruh. People are looking at the wrong things when it comes to Ron DeSantis. Everyone's thinking that he's secretly gay or secretly a crossdresser. No. Think about that pudding thing. Think about the fact that he supposedly force-fed detainees Ensure. I've had Ensure. That shit's nasty. And that shit coming out the other end is even nastier. Now, I'm going to be really controversial. I think this man is I think this man is actually straight. I think he is mostly monogamous. I think he's into things that would rearrange your gut flora in potentially embarrassing and humiliating ways if done improperly.
I think there's a reason why those waiters suit him so well.
The waiters, I mean, I'm thinking this man got waiters, rubber sheets, whole bucket setup. I'm sorry. I have a feeling if you gave him enough poppers, we'd probably see something on the level of Tub Girl. I said what I said.
Oh gosh. For our Gen Z viewer, don't look that up.
Don't Google. Yeah, I mean, for those of us who are old enough, this is ancient, deep internet lore that I've presented to you with no preparation. It is the old magic. I was there when it was written. I think if you got DeSantis to snort enough poppers, Tub Girl.
Well, I mean, plenty of places to get poppers in Miami.
Oh, yeah. And in Wilton Manors and in Tallahassee. Somewhere there is a dom in Tallahassee with a lot of secrets that she has to drink every night to get rid of.
Speaking of Florida, how about the newest entrant into the GOP race?
Listen. If Billy Corbin can already read you for filth and does on the regular, is this really the shit you should be doing? Honestly, is this really the shit? He already got a nickname for you. Trump might actually use this nickname. Billy needs to copyright the nickname so at least he can pretend to get money out of Trump for this. Like, Billy Corbin got a nickname for the man already. So I don't know if this is the smartest thing for him to do. The only thing you can really say about him is that he voted for Andrew Gillum and he voted for Hillary Clinton as a Republican. So I don't know what to tell you.
I just think that we've already got a field of a bunch of nobodies anyway.
Facts.
And then the North Dakota governor decides he's going to jump,
Who?
Exactly. Who
this person, Harpo?
I can't even remember his name. It's not Doug, but I keep wanting to say Doug. It's not Doug.
You live in Pennsylvania. Of course you want to say Doug.
God damn it. But, like, he's the governor of North Dakota. I can't remember his name. Nobody cares. He's the Jim Gilmore of 2024. If he even stays in the primary.
I totally forgot Jim Gilmore.
Jim Gilmore forgot Jim Gilmore. There is no Jim Gilmore. So this guy from North Dakota, whose name I refuse to even look up right now, even though
I'm not even reaching for my phone to find out. I don't give a fuck.
Well, he is going to be the recipient of probably tens of votes when it comes to the New Hampshire primary. He will probably end up, after you count the Republican and Democratic primaries, with fewer votes than Vermin Supreme gets.
No, I don't know. Wait, is Vermin Supreme dead?
No, he's still around.
Oh, okay, because I thought Vermin Supreme's dead. No, it might still happen, but
that I will look up.
Like, honestly, I don't know. I think what would happen is you're going to probably get some Democratic troll votes, some leftist troll votes. Because, I think people are going... I honestly, if Francis Suarez oh, he's not dead, is he?
Nope. Still around.
But Francis Suarez, honestly, he's running for vice president. He just don't know it yet.
Yeah, but Tim Scott is running for vice president.
Who gives a fuck about Tim Scott? Honestly, Tim Scott is just there to be
Tim Scott's mom.
Good for him, I guess.
Well, she's a fantastic beard. Parent.
No. I'm sorry. It's like, while on the other hand, Tim Scott might remind me of members of my own family. I ain't gonna go that.
I just look, why can't Tim Scott and Lindsey Graham, they're both South Carolina bachelor senators, why can't they just admit it to themselves and maybe to each other? Something beautiful could happen on the Senate floor.
I don't think anything like that would be beautiful. It would come under, you would end up having to post that on like on the gay section of mofos.com, and no one would like you for that. That would be, and nobody liked that. No one liked that.
To be clear, it's not the gayness that I am having a laugh at. I myself am part of the LGBTQ community. As
am I.
It is the blatant hypocrisy part.
Oh, that's always the part. It's always the hypocrisy for me. It's always the meme of Arthur smushing the cake into his mouth and it being labeled cock. Because between that, Ethan Schmidt, we all found out about Ethan Schmidt a couple weeks ago, and that shit was funny as hell. The OnlyFans boys were dropping receipts on another right-wing homophobe. It was bad. I was like, they posted your grinder out here, sir.
And they just had that one, that one activist who wanted LGBT books banned in schools has just been arrested for, statutory rape.
Because of course he was.
These people's accusations are always confessions. It's just like when Donald Trump was still on Twitter, there was the refrain, there's always a tweet.
Every time.
Anti-queer activist accusations are always confessions.
It's like the louder and the more anti-gay the pastor, the more rent boys that have been paid off. It's like you almost want to be like, sir, I would like to see every single citation of prostitution or hustling cited in this county, and at least at least all the counties within a 50-mile radius.
Well, thankfully, even though Rent Boy is gone, I mean, Grindr is up now, and the Grindr community are very well vocal about their uptick in activity anytime the RNC comes to a given city.
And they are also very vocal about their uptick in activity anytime Turning Point has a conference, particularly a pastor's conference. They are very vocal whenever CPAC is in town. They are vocal whenever they are vocal about I have a feeling once campaign season gets on and popping, they gonna get vocal. People gonna get found out.
And that's the thing. There is literally not a damn thing wrong with someone being gay or hooking up or doing anything. But the fact is, these people are pushing hard to eliminate LGBT people from public life. As Michael Knowles said, I mean, very explicitly, and then tried to claim, I just say I want to get rid of transgender ideology, which it's not an ideology. It's a person. Like, I mean, like when you say, like, I don't know, like, would you say, like, we just need to get Jewish ideology out of public life? And I know it's a very crude comparison, but all the same, the genocidal overtures rhyme.
Or we just need to get critical race theory out of schools. Bitch, you mean Black history.
Basically. When they can reject stories about, Rosa Parks, when they can reject stories about Harriet Tubman, when they can reject stories because they might make a little white kid feel bad, when really the white kid's not going to feel bad about it. It's their parents.
Actually, that did happen, I believe, at UNC or some other Southern university where they actually did rip out a curriculum because the white kids felt bad. I'm like, feel bad that you were not taught proper history. Also, sue your school for malfeasance.
If you feel bad about it, like, you're having yourself the wrong reaction.
Ask yourself why.
No one is telling you specifically did this. And no one is even telling you that you should feel bad that maybe possibly an ancestor of yours did this. They're telling you this shit happened. And it could still happen. So maybe don't be a piece of shit.
Yeah, like, listen, are you scared that when we show the picture of a lynching, you're going to see a face in the crowd that's a little too familiar? Chances are you won't, but But is that the fear that's lurking? Is it? Honestly, we really, at the close of the Civil War, we should have force marched. We should have force marched Confederate officers and non-commissioned officers through the remnants of slave shacks, force them to live there for the night, and then executed the officers. Let the non-coms live and let them see what they did.
It's kind of like one of the mistakes we made at the end of World War II is that we didn't execute enough Nazis. And I'm not saying you execute every foot soldier. I'm saying that you can't just say, oh, well, we'll go after the architects of the Holocaust. Like,
no, you execute everybody, colonel. You execute everybody rank before colonel and above. Or major. You execute everybody major and above. It's what the Romans would have done. I'm sorry, if you want.
And we know these people idolize Romans. Holy shit! Not to change the subject, but I don't know if there was just recently an Elon Musk tweet saying basically we need another
Sulla. And I'm like, does this bitch even know who the fuck Sulla is?
He does. Sulla? He absolutely knows who Sulla is, because this is what these people. Sulla is who they say when they want to be able to tell you without telling you. I would say Hitler if it wouldn't cost me my points.
Yeah, basically, if the last few porn companies and dick pill companies that I allow to advertise on my health site, I would say Hitler, but I know even they would desert me, so I can't. So I'm gonna just say Sulla and hope nobody Googles. And what'll happen? They'll Google.
Because, like, how deep? If you mention Sulla, you basically know you're drawing on a figure that most of the general public who only know in passing about the Roman
Julius
Empire
Caesar
at large doesn't know. They know, they know
Julius Caesar.
Yeah. And, these are... You're not talking to people who had to Google what crossing the Rubicon meant. You're talking to people who know.
Actually, you are talking to people who. You're actually talking to people who know who didn't know what crossing the Rubicon meant. I actually had to show my roommate what crossing the Rubicon meant. But they hear Sulla and they think, well, that must be good. But and just go on with it. Meanwhile, I'm like, this could just. Apartheid Clyde just referenced Sulla. God damn. Okay, we see you, asshole.
He is who he is.
Yeah, they don't call him Apartheid Clyde for nothing. Though for most native Afrikaans speakers, they say the actual proper thing would be apartheid Nate would actually be more appropriate, but bitch, I'm American. Apartheid Clyde it is.
I like the way that works, to be honest.
What, apartheid Nate or apartheid Clyde? Either way, we have a nickname.
Yeah, either way. Either works for me. He's a horrible person. What can you
say? Genuinely. And, it's like, well, I'm like, listen, he's out here talking about sexual harassment. This man promised a subordinate a horse if she would have sex with him. A horse.
There's also the blatant liking and retweeting and pinning of retweets from known white supremacists. Not people who are lightly fashy. I mean, people who are literally white supremacists.
I knew this shit was gonna get mad swifty once I saw that Andrew Anglin. I need to find another alternate last name for Andrew Anglin, because unfortunately that name is linked. So I can't do Mr. Daily Sturmer or whatever the fuck.
I mean, it's one of those things where, if a terrible person happens to like and it happens to agree with you on a certain opinion, that doesn't necessarily mean that you co-sign on all of that terrible person's things. But I wouldn't amplify and quote that person agreeing with you either. So if you were like, oh man, I fucking love blueberries, and then all of a sudden Charles Manson is like,
or J.K. Rowling's like, I love blueberries too. I'm just gonna shove that. I'm not telling anybody that. Y'all gonna have to send me to Guantanamo before I confess to that shit. I'm not telling anybody. If I like blueberries and frigging J.K. Rowling retweets it with a little heart, bitch, I'm literally just going to block her and pretend it never happened.
Now I'm thinking about blueberries. That man, my friend made me this blueberry cake once. It was so, it was so good.
I just am thinking about the blueberry muffin scene in Casino.
I want the same number of blueberries.
Every. Do you know how long that's going to take? I don't care. Get it done. I'm like, no wonder what's her name did coke. I would not be okay either if I had to sleep with that.
Perfect segue. Thank you for bringing up Casino. Anybody who's seen that movie remembers that there was the disgruntled mafioso who was mad at constantly getting stiffed all the time. So he decided to keep a ledger of all the illegal.
Oh my God. Artie!
Yep.
Fucking Artie!
By the way, based on a true story, he decided to keep a ledger of all of the illegal monies he was owed. Then had a heart attack and died, and that ledger was used as evidence that really sealed the deal for a bunch of motherfucking mafiosos over and across the country for their schemes in Las Vegas. So speaking of, as Stringer Bell would say, taking notes on a criminal conspiracy. Donald Trump!
Bruh! This man is like, I don't know. I'm going to sit here and imitate one of my favorite other podcasters, Manny Matney, and be like, I don't know. Where she just is, and then she lets us know some bullshit that somebody thought they were going to get away with.
Richard Nixon.
Richard Nixon is like, I swear to God, if this man gets away with this shit, I'm haunting everybody involved.
Richard Nixon.
I am haunting everybody involved, and I will somehow find a way to take Kissinger with me. Because I have a feeling even Kissinger knew about this.
Richard Nixon was taping himself, knew he was on tape.
Why would you do that?
He still managed in some moments to be like, maybe I should put this in code and speak a little obliquely.
He wasn't obliquely about the racism, but okay.
Donald Trump, well, the racism wasn't illegal, and continues not to be illegal. But, like, Donald Trump doesn't even have that tiny sliver of self-awareness.
He really don't.
He's talking to people who are recording the conversations for a book, showing them.
He showed the maps to Kid fucking Rock. If you out here showing shit you shouldn't show to the intellectual giant that is Robert Ritchie, aka Kid Rock, and even he like, maybe I shouldn't even be looking at this. Maybe you shouldn't be showing it. Like, how?
But not only that.
I mean, this is the most mediocre of men to wish for the confidence of, but often I do understand why fellow women of color, trans, cis, whomever, wish for the confidence of a mediocre white man. Because, bruh.
It just, not only just doing that, but also saying out loud, knowing you're being recorded, and I'm like, yeah, these are top secret. I shouldn't be showing you these. You know, if I were still president, I could declassify it, but now I can't. Jesus Christ.
How?
You know.
How?
hashtag not legal advice, but I'm just going to say, as an attorney, if I had found out that my client had admitted to criming on video and also obliterated any possible defense against the crime, because and basically saying, "Oh God, I've got intent out the ass. I am intending to do this." Jesus, I would.
That's why he can't find a lawyer. Because I wouldn't like who is going to risk their time, energy, and assistance on this bullshit and may not even get paid.
Well, they tried to put out a statement when they resigned and make it seem like it was a jurisdictional reason, when really any attorney can be waived in and work pro hoc vice in a different state if they have a sponsor. That's not the issue. The issue is that the indictment came out and they realized this guy lied to all of his previous attorneys, and these people faced professional consequences for it. I'm out.
Like, they literally just, fuck this shit, I'm out. They're like, no, what I'm not gonna do is risk my hard-earned law license over this shit. Because I think also the fact of he's not even going to pay me is like reason number 1.375 as to why they not gonna do this. And it's illegal as fuck, and he not gonna pay me.
I would think that they'd have figured it out from the interactions with Donald McGahn in the Mueller report. That, I mean, any attorney who wanted to know what they were getting into could have seen Donald Trump just keeps asking these people to do illegal things. Why would you get involved with that? Now, for their sake, I guess I'm glad they figured it out eventually, but also having Donald Trump as a client in 2016 as an attorney, where you're basically like, even bad people need defense attorneys. That's how the justice system works.
But it don't have to be you.
Versus, well, I mean, if you work at a firm that he's retained, I mean, you're kind of just like,
you stuck.
I could either quit or I could just play this out and see how it goes. So, which is kind of like the situation if I worked at a criminal defense firm in 2016 and someone said, Donald Trump's your client, and I'd be like, oh, fuck, I just started. I really need money and a career. I guess I'm Donald Trump's lawyer. Now, at this point, any attorney working for a firm that says you're working Donald Trump, you could basically probably say to your partners, and I'm like, this guy asked his attorneys to do a bunch of legal shit. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure they went to the most desperate in hoc divorced lawyer in the entire goddamn firm, because I know anybody else would be like, look at all my other work. Those files are empty. I didn't ask. We're not doing it. God. Like, I can see people just pulling out files that have nothing in it but forms in triplicate and saying, look at all my work where I'm not doing it.
Trump has always been obsessed with paper making him look busy. I mean, that picture he put out at the during his campaign of the stacks upon stacks of clearly untouched
paper, or when he got tax returns, or when he had COVID. In between all of us uttering fervent prayers to both the eternal and the infernal, he released that picture of him sitting in Walter Reed working. I'm like, you ain't working. We can see that those papers are empty, and you're just playing. And you're just playing office like you're.
When he sold his company or handed off control of his company,
I'm just like,
he has stacks of papers from when he cut regulations.
All I know is he is a 5-year-old playing Office. I said what I said. He is a 5-year-old playing Office. All of us Zennials, millennials, y'all remember having to go to work with your mom sometimes, and she'd hand you a stack of paper and you pretend to play Office.
What I picture in my head is like they had to do to his father at the end, where they basically just gave him a phone that only called out to the desk outside so he could pretend like he was working. That's going to be Trump at the end, basically, because he's not going to jail.
I don't think he's going to jail, but I do think there will be a deal struck that will prevent him from running again.
I don't think so, and I actually hope not. The only...
I think it would actually be... I mean, let's put it like this. Based on what I see of Jack Smith, other than the fact that, damn, he gives daddy vibes. I'm just saying, listen. I have an ear to the streets. Streets saying daddy vibes. I'm just saying.
Need to get over it, because I remember people. I'm old enough to remember Cuomo-sexual. I'm old enough to
remember. I did not jump on the Cuomo-sexual bandwagon.
This is
I held my powder dry for that one.
This is about the culture at large. I remember people even thinking seriously that Mueller was this badass, and I'm like, no, we are not venerating these people who are supposed to be doing a job for us. We are not going to hold them up as sex symbols. We are not doing any of that shit. No.
Did you just do the figurative spray bottle of water? You did the figurative spray bottle of water. You did. I'm just saying.
I didn't intend to, but you know what? Happy accident.
I'm sorry. Streets is hot, and Streets is saying, not if you could, you would. But as I was saying, I'm just saying that I think Jack Smith. Yes, I do believe Jack Smith is probably one of the smartest people Donald Trump has faced. I do think, though, this is the part that breaks my heart. I do think, though, that it is entirely possible for everything that Smith does to get undone, even if he doesn't win the presidency, because of fucking Eileen Cannon.
Yeah. Well,
that's the part that breaks my heart. I think because of one pissed off, I want Fed Soap to eat my pussy. One judge. This could go to hell.
She wants to end up on the top of a FedSoc list that will put her in. That'll be given to the next president that says, "Hey, maybe
the next Republican
court."
Yeah, then, next Republican president. Because I don't think the next Democratic president gonna give a goddamn fucking flying fuck what the FedSoc thinks. FedSoc, they're
no matter what happens, Trump is going to be fine. If Aileen or Eileen Cannon doesn't stop it, and he somehow manages to get convicted, and he ends up with, I guess, fucking a suspended sentence, which I'm assuming is going to happen.
That is genuinely my realistic hope, that he gets this, that he gets sent, that he does get tried, convicted. They give him a suspended sentence of 7 years. He freaks out and has a heart attack.
Yeah. What I know is that these federal charges will all end up being pardoned in the next Republican administration, whenever that happens to be. If it's not in 2024, it will be in 2028 or 2032. Whenever the Republican administration is, Trump will be pardoned. And even
if he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even if he's dead, they'll pardon him posthumously, and they'll insist that he gets buried with the rest of the ex-president, and I will show up with a full bottle of beer. I don't give a fuck. Y'all knew what time it was.
Will the beer be Bud Light or Modelo?
Depends on who I'm with.
You know what the ironic thing is, that people are like going for Modelo because it's not owned by Anheuser-Busch, but only in the United States. It's owned by Anheuser-Busch in the entire
everywhere else.
Yeah. So it's a Mexican import. So you're still buying it from Anheuser-Busch, even though it technically is owned in the United States. But it's a whole thing. So
yeah, I know. Listen. I'm now that I have like my toehold in returning into a different facet of adult-ish retail. It's you sit there and you're like, the distribution networks are hilarious. It's confusing, and I'm just like, listen, just give me your ID and I'll ring you up. I don't give a fuck at this point.
I got ID'd at this place called Superfood Town when I was buying wine.
Yay!
And I was so happy until I saw in the other line, because it's one of those, in Pennsylvania, you have to buy your alcohol in a separate section of every store. So everyone in these lines was buying alcohol. And then I saw that they were checking the idea of a senior citizen. And then I was like, okay, so they just check everybody. I don't feel good anymore.
I'm sorry. I usually, when I check IDs, I'm like, listen, I just turned 40. I get it. They're like, no, you're not. I want to be like, listen, black don't crack. It is what it is. But I don't want to holler at them and make them feel bad for like having bags under their eyes and being white. That's not my fault. Okay, so you aged.
Listen, I am part Irish, so I have been told I have kind of a baby face, but that's not going to last. Irish people age in a way that's like sort of like falling off a cliff, where the curve only slightly goes down, and then you fucking hit the cliff, and you age 30 years in 5. So
I see it. That shit is hilarious. You're like, you then see him after 5 years, after like 6.5 years, you're like, what happened? I know it ain't just the alcohol.
You can't see it because of bad lighting and because of anything, but I'm actually starting to go gray. I've got
I've been going gray. I just part the bang over the gray. So that's how I hide it for now.
But the thing is, I'm excited for it. I'm happy for it, and I can't wait for all of my gray hair to overtake everything. I so want, because my gray is actually silver, and I am.
I hate you.
I know.
I have to wait for it to turn silver, and that's bullshit. I'm now feeling very, very. I'm feeling some kind of way now because you get to bypass weird yellow gray and go straight to silver.
Look, eventually, my skin is going to look like one of Joe Biden's bomber jackets. So
okay, all right.
This fucking hair thing, okay?
Those bomber jackets are nice, though.
Yeah.
Very expensive leather. I shouldn't have, but it's too late. That was bad. Now I'm never going to be able to unsee that. You want to know, though, who this thing is bringing out of the archives? Reality winner. I forgot about old girl. Even though I follow her on Twitter, I forgot about her. She like, bitch, I served time. I'm like, we know, baby girl, we know, but you're not in anymore.
My issue with the Espionage Act has to do with the way it has been used to basically punish whistleblowers, legitimate whistleblowers,
Facts.
And political dissidents.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been used it has been used to punish the reasons for someone doing something. It has not been used fairly.
No, right? It hasn't. No, it hasn't. We know that.
Donald Trump violating the Espionage Act and then getting away with it would be a miscarriage of justice because it would give lie to the idea that this is meant to protect national security, secrets, confidential information. We can have the conversation about overclassification. Oh yeah, everything is overclassified.
No one's denying that part, but it's just the idea that if it goes down in that way, just call it the just call it the Naughty Boy Act, Naughty Boy, Naughty Girl Act, and say that you'll hit anybody with it who gets out of line.
Was Eugene Debs? Was that the reason he was in jail? Was the Espionage Act?
I thought it was more about general agitation and disturbing the peace on steroids.
Because I can't remember when he did his run for the Espionage Act is 1917, and I cannot remember when I cannot for the life of me remember when he. So it's killing me, but I think the point is that Edward Snowden, legitimate whistleblower, and you can say all you want about what his motivations may or may not have been, but the point is the the information that he gave, that he disseminated, was important to Americans understanding how far their government had gone in breaking the law. Nobody in the government suffered consequences as a result of what Snowden revealed, except for Snowden.
That's the part that gets me. Like, if you expose abuse, shouldn't you at least be like, yeah, we gonna punish him, but we need to punish y'all too? Like,
and the same went for Chelsea Manning. The illegal activities that were uncovered by the release of information, or at least, if not technically illegal, quite immoral and horrifying abuses that were revealed by Chelsea Manning. The only people who suffered because of that were Chelsea Manning. And for Reality Winner,
and probably indirectly all of us, because Chelsea Manning was who Grimes left Elon Musk for. So now we all got to suffer because of that bullshit.
So I am just going to say this: Chelsea, it's not worth it. Grimes is not.
She really not. Listen, this is a woman. I want to be like Chelsea. This is a woman who nearly had a threesome with Elon Musk and, wait for it, Azalea Banks.
I'm done.
You resigned. Did you just resign from the conversation the moment you found that out? That's where the apartheid Clyde came from. She's the one who originated it. That's why it's like, on one hand, she is mad problematic. But God damn it, when Azalea Banks is right, she is right.
If I were stuck in an elevator with Azalea Banks and Iggy Azalea, and I had a gun with 2 bullets, I'd shoot myself twice.
What?
It's just
all I know is I would have a hard time figuring out which one I'd want to just. I would just at this point I would probably end up shooting myself twice too, because I will never forget her as Iggy Azalea attempting to rap freestyle at some German music festival, and it just came out like a bunch of gibberish, and it hurt my entire soul. And I prayed constantly that the ghost of Gangster Boo just haunts this woman till the day she dies, or at least till the heat death of the sun. I really don't care which.
But to go back, I'm less familiar with what it was that Reality Winner shared, but
I know that what she did was legit whistleblowing, though.
Yeah, that's just it. I don't think it may. I don't know if it was like Snowden and like Manning, something that detailed things that were highly like horrifying and illegal, and or illegal.
I don't think so. I think it was more the fact that what she released kind of backed up some of the documentation, but it wasn't that detailed.
So, but all the same, what she did was legitimate whistleblowing. Whistleblowing is protected in employment law, but it sure as shit isn't for national secrets.
Really not.
Prosecuted under the Espionage Act, and they served time in the case of Manning, and in the case of Winner, Snowden fled and
to Russia.
Yeah, which
to me it's like making a bad problem worse.
Yeah, but all the same, these were politically motivated prosecutions, like people right now are claiming is happening to Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't whistleblow shit.
He didn't. He was trying to get money. Don't know from who. All I know is it makes a lot of things look. He created an atmosphere of extra mad suspicion. Like, we look at the Live PGA merger, and there were some trips to Bedminster taken, and I'm just sitting here like, I'm sitting here like Cardi B. That's weird. That's suspicious. Like, you know, we can see you being suspicious in public, Donald. We can see you.
I think what is extremely likely, so far we don't know, and it's possible that Jack Smith has information that may be coming in a future indictment that may occur in New Jersey based on what happened in Bedminster.
Listen, listen, the more indictments, the better. I'm here for it. I cheer for it.
But what for now we do know based on the indictment that's been unsealed and the information in that. Aside from the fact that the thing that kills me the most is that they called the boxes the beautiful mind
boxes.
Because oh Jesus. But
I kind of want Russell Crowe to jump back on Twitter and just read everyone for filth. I'm not Russell Crowe's biggest fan, but occasionally the man's capable of reading people for filth, and I'm here for it. I'd like to see that.
Of all the people who, who have reputations for being pieces of shit, he is probably the least objectionable of the pieces of shit that we found so far, because it's like,
he's just regular Hollywood Australian piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's baseline. He just like to fight.
Of the Australian actors who have bad reputations, he's not the worst.
He really not. Like, fam, he just likes to fight. Like, he will fight. Yes, he
movies,
did
making songs and fighting
around the world. And yes, he did spit on Azalea Banks, but I don't know what happened, and I do think it's a little sus because Australian, but at the same time, Azalea Banks. So we're kind of in the middle here, and we don't know where to proceed. Now, if he spit on Halle Berry at a party, I'm fighting everybody in the room that allowed that to happen.
If he spit on Halle Berry and he didn't die,
I would be fighting everybody in the room that allowed it to happen, from the doorman to listen, I'd fight her own boyfriend and be like, why did you let that happen?
By the way, like 2 or 3 years ago when they announced The Little Mermaid, and I misread the story and thought Halle Berry was going to be The Little Mermaid because Halle Berry. I misread it.
Oh no, honey.
Man, okay, maybe she's a little old, but I mean, she looks good, and she could do it. Oh, no. And I lived under that belief that was who it was until the pictures came out, and I'm like, oh wait, Halle Berry.
Who is that?
Jesus Christ. So that's just, I mean,
you were like, the ungodly hour lady? Oh, okay.
That would be like fucking confusing John Denver and Bob Denver.
Yeah.
Like I just, so that's my Halle.
You let that.
I attribute it to not giving enough of a shit about The Little Mermaid that I didn't read a single story about it after the first one.
For me, it was more a fact of I confused Chloe and Halle, so mine was far more forgivable unless you're a hardcore fan. Mine was like, oh, she thick. This gonna be fun. Oh, it's the other one. So fun.
But to go back to the Russell Crowe, I have to engineer my way back to what I was trying to say about. Oh, that's right. So we don't know, based on the indictment, that Donald Trump used the documents for leverage or for blackmail or to get anything. We don't know.
But
we suspect, given the way he tried to blackmail Zelensky. Subject of his first impeachment, we know he's the type of guy who does stuff like this.
Yeah.
But what we do know also about him is he likes to play office, as we discussed earlier in the episode.
He does love
and he loves his papers, and he loves to be a big shot. And we have the 3 occasions where we know he showed shit to people just to fucking just the people in the room with him. And so I think what is a equally likely thing, now both could be true, but I think what is equally likely is that he just wanted to feel like an official big shot. And he hated that he had to leave the White House and wasn't going to be president. And he wanted to play out his days, if he didn't get to be back being president again, playing president.
Yeah, he got to say, "Daddy, I'm finally a big boy now." And then they took away all his big boy powers, and now he's just Donald again, and that just made him mad, and he just couldn't handle that. I'm sorry. This is a man who is permanently stuck between the ages of 5 and maybe 12.
It's supreme arrested development. I mean, this man has the emotional intelligence of a 4-year-old. And we see that with the way he interacts, where everything's transactional.
Everything.
Like, he absolutely has no ability to emotionally regulate himself better than a 4-year-old does. And that's why I think that's the primary reason why he took all that stuff, is because he wanted to feel like an adult.
And he wanted to be like, this is mine, all mine. I created it, therefore I should be able to keep it.
I'm a big boy. I want to play president forever.
Yeah. Basically, that's what it is. It's like, I'm a big boy. I want to play. Yeah. I really can't see any. I'm sure there are other psychological theories we can go with, but the idea that I'm a big boy. I'm finally a big boy, daddy. I'm president now, and I'm going to be president forever.
Yeah, like you said, we're not psychologists, but then again, neither are the people who are constantly so confidently opining that transgender people aren't real. And if they could be confident in just going completely against what the rest of
without even a full college degree, Matt Walsh, without even a full college degree.
How dare you? That's credentialism.
Bitch, I've been credentialed. Listen. The paper ceiling exists for a reason. Some people deserve to be under it.
Yeah. I will actually say that I do think that holding up credentials in and of itself does not mean someone is right.
No, it doesn't.
And there are plenty of people who get those credentials who are horribly undeserving of them. The worst doctor in the world is still a doctor. The worst lawyer is still a lawyer.
A lawyer.
Well, or like Sidney Powell, they're disbarred. But, there's also plenty of people who don't have access to education, but could easily have gotten those papers. But
very much so.
When you look at everything in the aggregate, in its totality, and you find that not only the vast majority, but the near totality of people whose job and training it is to study the brain, to study biology, to study psychology, say, this is a real thing. And then little Matt Walsh and all the other unwashed assholes who have no degree disagree.
Or just failed Hollywood writers, Ben Shapiro.
Oh my God, that entire Daily Wire crew.
Listen, they're fighting with YouTube, who's doing all the work Elon won't and is demonetizing them. They're fighting about it. And I'm like, well, it really couldn't happen to a better set of unprincipled bigots.
Yeah. It
really couldn't, honestly. Y'all are just as grifty and merch happy as Donald Trump. Y'all tried your anti-woke beer. That went to hell. Are they even shipping the chocolate?
$6 a can?
Are they even shipping the chocolate that or are they even and the oh God,
the razor company?
The razor company, how's that going?
Was it Jeremy's Razors?
Yeah, I think so. I don't give a fuck. Ain't none of that shit. Very little of that shit has even seen a production line, much less the profit.
It's all pro-packed shit anyway. It's all some other companies putting a label on.
Yeah, and then sometimes when sometimes when that company finds out that they're who they're part of, they're like, you know what? I don't need the money that bad. And that's how you end up with a 1999 4-pack, a 6-pack that you haven't sold yet. 1999.
I thought it was nearly $30. I thought it was $6.
Oh,
I thought it was $6 a can. I could be wrong.
What's this? What is this can doing? Telling you the future. What is this can doing? Is it going? Can you staple it onto your dick to make it look bigger? Why is this can $6?
Your can for scale. No, let me. This is why I'm sure a lot of people sending dick pics are very glad they started making these.
Oh, listen. I'm sure there's at least 50,000. I would say there's at least 50,000 women who've been taken in by that, and they are mad about it. The mini can has probably ruined more than its fair share of hookups. That's bullshit. And I honestly, it leads into the why are men? It really does. It leads into why are cishet men? Because I need to narrow it. Because, like I said, I don't really even date heterosexual men anymore. Gamora? Why is Gamora? Not how is Gamora. Why is Gamora? Like, why are cishet men? Because as a collective, y'all need therapy.
I like the way you put it when I saw you share our show that, like, what do disaffected ex-conservatives
what do broke ex-conservatives do when they can't afford therapy?
This shit.
This is what we doing. This is how we're getting through it. We are drinking and bitching and wondering what the fuck. And I'm also sitting here wondering what the fuck. This is going to be a short one. Southern Baptist Convention is having its annual little hate fest. I don't even care anymore. I grew up Southern Baptist. I can say that. They know they have a huge sexual abuse crisis. One could say almost Catholic Church sized. But you want to know what they're worried about right now?
Women preachers.
They are kicking out churches that have female preachers. You want to know which group this also can undercut? Black women. Women of color. I mean, not just women in general, but women in color.
That's probably part of the recipe for that cake right there.
Like, I've lost, like, some of the very first preachers I encountered that I could relate to were fellow women of color.
My last, when the last church I went to, the preachers were women.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a much more supportive and belonging environment than any church I'd ever been to before that. You know.
And honestly, the stipulations they put on female preachers actually help make them more relatable. For some people, they don't take a female preacher seriously if she is behind a pulpit. So they take away her pulpit. They give her a bare ass lectern. She can't even stand on the riser. She has to stand on the floor. But you want to know what that does? It means you can look her in the eye. She can look you in the eye. When she's talking, she is talking straight at you. Stop talking to you. She's not talking down at you. She is not talking at you. She's talking to you. So maybe that's what they're scared of. Maybe they're scared of because while yes, you have your Aunt Lydias, you have your Serenas who are just as committed to the white privilege, just as committed to the male privilege, the complementarianism. But there are female preachers who say, maybe we need to re-examine some shit. Maybe they are not afraid to join in the every 3-month bird down of, yes, Bathsheba was raped and I will tell you why. So I can. So for me, it's when people I need people to remember that the Southern Baptist Church only exists because one guy said, I think slavery is mandated by, I think the separation and the hierarchy of the races was mandated by God along with slavery. And the rest of the church has said, I can't follow you there. And he started his own denomination. Yes, in the 90s, they apologized for it. But when you countenance people like William Wolfe, who's basically like two missed thoughts from becoming missed thoughts from being an open white nationalist, and Owen Strahan, who blocked me on Twitter, they haven't changed, and that's not a good thing. And you're left thinking, if the church got it wrong, if the formal institution of the church got it wrong on women, got it wrong on children, got it wrong on the Jews, got it wrong on slavery, got it wrong on Black people, what makes you think that they've got it, that all of a sudden they're right when it comes to LGBTQIA plus people? What makes you think they got it right, that they're right all of a sudden?
Like Marvin the Martian said, this time for sure.
And at this point, I can't, the institution has proven itself untrustworthy, and I won't countenance it. So that's happened.
Oh man, this is an episode of milestones, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think I've dug up so many. I think that's the most old internet memes I've dug up in like at least one show. I think there might have been more, but I can't think of it.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I shouldn't do that again.
Old internet is a horrifying place. If you stray too
How
far,
did we survive?
If you stray too far from Dancing Baby and Badgers, then you get into some really
dark
shit.
Yeah.
So,
but Badgers is fucking solid, and I'm mad that they have not made I need a trap remix of Badgers.
Well, I mean, you've seen the Narwhal one they made, right?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I wish we listen.
Oh yeah, the Narwhal one. I think I've seen that one. Yes,
okay,
but honestly, I need a trap. I would like, dear internet, I would like a trap remix of Badgers. Honestly, we deserve.
Well, I think that is the perfect place to end for this evening. And I just want to say that Henry Kissinger's still not dead.
And I have a problem with that.
He's 100. Jimmy Carter's dying. Harry Belafonte's dead. Why is Henry Kissinger?
Treat Williams is dead. Like,
my God!
Like, what? You couldn't just on the way just pick that one up too. I mean, Treat Williams is literally like, you almost forget he exists.
I can't forget Treat Williams exists. You know why? Because when I was 11 years old, a movie came out by the name of The Phantom, starring Billy Zane. And Treat Williams was the most fantastic cartoon character 1930s villain. He is, and I said this when Vince McMahon came back with that stupid ass pencil thin mustache and hair. I said bullshit. That fucking guy looks like Treat Williams in The Phantom.
Okay, that's fair.
So,
but I'm like, how you gonna take Treat Williams home? But like, really, Treat Williams was bothering no one.
Everybody, please watch The Phantom. It's not a good movie, but watch it anyway.
All I know is this: I just need Tom Hanks to outlive him.
You know
what? He's a diabetic cousin. I need him to outlive Henry Kissinger.
And speaking of diabetics, could everybody please stop taking Ozempic for weight loss?
Because we're suffering over here. The actual Ozempic girlies, the original Ozempic girlies, us diabetics just trying to not die.
There are medication shortages across the country. Do you fucking use Ozempic just for your vanity? Jesus Christ.
Again.
So...
Only thing is that Ozempic has been found to help addiction. So I have a feeling if you're a fentanyl user and you're overweight, welcome. I already know what they're gonna do. So have fun with that. Have fun with that. Drink lots of water. Take laxatives.
So anyway, watch The Phantom with Christy Swanson, Billy Zane, and Treat Williams. By the way, fucking that movie is just one of my. It's a spoiler, but who cares? You're not watching the movie for the plot. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is that the Treat Williams, basically hench girl or whatever, is turned around to the good side by Christy Swanson basically going, "What's your problem?" to her once in a car. And all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, maybe I have wasted my life being bad. I should be good for me. It's so dumb. It's one little moment. She doesn't have any moment in the entire movie until Christy Swanson goes, "What's your problem?" to her, or some shit like that. And then all of a sudden she has her heel face turn like later in the movie. It's so dumb. It is the least written movie ever.
So they just basically wrote some guidelines and told her to improv it out.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Now I'm kind of intrigued because it's like they basically said, here's some guidelines. Wait, these aren't lines. Improv it out. We trust you.
I love it. It's terrible.
Okay, all right. I'll give it a shot because I don't mind a good terrible movie because good terrible movies have their charms. Like I like Halloween 3 for some strange reason, but here we are.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. Season of the Witch. I partially blame the Boulet brothers for that, but you know.
Well, that'll be that for the Apostates this week. We will see you later. Henry Kissinger's still alive. Have a good night, everybody.
Night.